What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another Black Desert video. So today we're going to be updating one of our older videos talking about the crystals and everything I use, simply because we have new stuff and thought it'd be time to update it. So with that said, whether you're a beginner or all the way into the end game returning player, there's something for you, and we'll talk about various things, how easy or hard to get some of these are. So with that said, yeah, let's talk about all of this. Let's go down from top to bottom. So Lifeskillers, PvPers, PvEers, there's something for you. And yeah, let's get started. So this is my PvE Overcap one. What does that mean? So let's explain this real quick. For example, let's take this Ackman, spot right here. Whenever this says recommended AP versus max AP, if you are above the 600 number that they recommend, that means you're overcapped, and you would trade off AP damage for like special attacks, such as like back attack, down, air, crits, and everything. So that's what that means for overcap, to give you an idea real quick. Okay, so overcap, this is what I use. We trade off a little bit of damage for, survivability and attack and cast speed, which, believe it or not, you may not notice a difference if it's like 1% attack cast speed increase, but you will notice it. There's a reason why people are going from Splendid to Shining Stone and paying 1 trillion silver for it. Plus 3 AP at that point in the game is very minimal, but the attack cast speed is extremely important. But anyway, with that said, when you're overcapped at a spot, I have extra attack cast speed, some survivability with HP, and Frozen Bitterness for, defensives. But everything else, we have the AP Rebellious ×2. These are pretty easy to get nowadays with the Olvia Academy. Gearin's tier, everyone should have one of these since these are minimum price and just sit on the market. Corrupted Gluttonies, you get these from Star's End. You can use the regular corrupted crystals if you don't know what they are. They are the regular corrupted magic crystals. You just turn them into the corrupted gluttonies through the Star's End grind, and you're good to go. And then we have the Crystal of the Void Akrad. There's a version under that, which I believe I have an extra one of them. Let me show you what it is. Yeah, this thingy, the Glorious Crystal of Gallantry. So basically, this is the 7 AP version, and this is the upgraded for 9 AP. So if you're min-maxing, then you want to do that. Then we have Crystal of Brutal Decimation. The ideal goal is to have 2 of these. These are new Edania Part 2, and you need the new materials to basically craft the upgrade for this one into this one. It's plus 3 AP and 0.5 additional back attack damage. And then, yeah. So if you're also overcapped, you could replace these red crystals, the AP, with, 4 Black Spirit Rage if you wanted to, but it really just depends on the grind spot you're at, and that's about it. We Han Dusky Ruin. This is exclusively for the plus 20 monster damage reduction. People had the impression it only worked in Edania, which is the AP part of it. Monster damage reduction plus 20 works everywhere, so it's a little bit safer. If you don't have it, it's not a big deal. You can replace it for whatever you want, more damage, more survivability if you wanted to, HP, so on. Now, this is what I use for maximum damage. If I'm doing things like Altar of Blood, where the cap is more just like how much AP you can have, this is ideally what I do. So we have 4 Macalods over here, and then 2 Akrads, kind of like this one. And then everything else is pretty much the same. What's new is 2 Crystal Void Destructions. You could get the previous version, which are these things. Precise Destructions, kind of like the other ones. The only upgrade is plus 2 AP, which, min-maxing is the way to go, but that's the budget option. And then this is your flex spot, the Crystal of Stalwart Fortitude. We have it for plus 5 AP and monster damage reduction plus 5. You can replace this with any species you want, or like, not species, but CC Resist you want, such as like knockback, stun, stiffness, freezing, knockdown, and so on. But usually I would say Knockdown is probably the most relevant CC type you will find in both PvE and PvP. Well, that one's PvP is less, it doesn't matter, but that is the most relevant CC type. So next we have knockdown, knockback, and stun resist. All of these are the same. I use them in basically the spots, like, you know, if you're doing morning light grinding as well as Edania grinding, every type has this CC type, and if you don't know how to find what type you are, so let's say you go to the monster type, right, or where you're grinding, it'll tell you knockback, knockdown, you know, stun stiffness, knockback, and so on. So that's how you can find what type you need. If you don't have the multiple crystal slots like I do, it doesn't matter. All you have to do is really replace the CC type at the bottom, and that's it for one of them, and you're good to go. But aside from that, so you see how right here the only thing that changes is the CC resist type is changing, but the stats itself are the same. And so yeah, that's basically it. You don't need the extra 10% from these small crystals, because these are the ones that give 50%, and then full buffed you will be beyond 100% with all these. So these are just kind of like, you know, extra on top, and it just kind of goes well together, but you don't need these two minimums. So if you want to replace them for whatever, go for it. Aside from that, everything else is the same. You've seen all these crystals before, and you are good to go. Next, we have PvP Damage. Now, this one is full out damage. You are going to be kind of like a glass cannon. You do big damage, but you also basically just die to everything. So we have 2 RBF Vipers, then 2 Red Spirit Crystals over here. These are AP and extra AP against adventurers. So if you are a returning player and you're wondering what is the difference between extra AP against adventurers versus humans, they changed that recently. So humans are a PvE species type, you know, and then adventurers are players. So that's the difference now. Why they had to make it even more confusing like that? I think it was just like people are doing some weird stacking, or it was confusing. But either way, you want to look for adventurer AP nowadays. And then we have 2 RBF Karmes. Now, keep in mind, watch out for this one. This one is kind of like if you are a, you know, like a melee versus range damage or magic damage, you kind of want something different. So, like, some will give you extra, like, 2 attack speed, one will give you 2 cast speed, and one is like a balance. Ultimately, if you're full buffed, it doesn't really matter. But if you want to just get the one that works for your class, that's even better. Aside from that, we have a little bit of armor, because this one is you kind of really want to survive a little bit, and so we have some frozen bitternesses for DR and evasion, same with this one, and then we have 1 valor for full AP plus 5. You could replace that with a second one if you wanted to, if you had it. And then Olukas for adventure damage and attack cast speed, always nice. So this one is a flex one. You could use the red tier. If you don't want to use a red one, you could use a defensive, which is, let me see, where is it? The Heytes tier, the purple one. And you could be a little bit tankier, but the red one gives a little bit of offensive stats, and that's why we use it. But I don't think there's a right or wrong answer whether you use purple or red. You just, whatever works for you. Next, we have PvP capped damage. Now, this one is for node wars and, like, you know, anything that you're capped with. And to give you an idea, let me show you how you could figure that out. Like, whether you're a tier 1 guild, tier 2, 3, 4, so on. What you would do is go to node war information, or actually, node war, and then you hover over these numbers where you see the stat limits, right? So ideally, you want to have everything in green, and that means you are above the cap for that node war, right? And so you can find whatever tier you're doing. And so if you're full buff, you ideally want everything green, and after that, you want to trade off a few other things. So once you're all green, I'll show you why I changed a few of them. So what is different with this one? We have 2 black magic crystal descent, which is minus fall damage, and ideally they're not super useful, but if you are maxed out on every cap of node wars, you want to have something, you know, a crystal that's kind of useful instead of a dead stat. So fall damage, if you're doing any, you know, node wars on places that are, you know, on a big mountain or something, especially if you're doing constructed and not occupation, you're probably flying from point A to B pretty often, and fall damage is nice. Will it matter for most people? No, it's just kind of a thing. Next, we also have HP recovery magic crystals, which is recovered 3 HP on hit, and we have 2 of them. Once again, in PvP, like, you know, 6 HP times whatever, it's really not saving you, but it's just like a bonus that you would probably lose just having some other crystal, assuming overcap. Aside from that, HP goes, you know, it scales pretty high, so you want to just have that one. And then we have Girin's tier, just because it's overall special attack, I guess, but you could change this one out for whatever color you want. And the important thing that we have here is 4 Han crystals for BSR. This is a very expensive thing to go for, so I understand if not everyone has it. It's just one thing to work on as you get into the end game. So if you are overcapped in AP, which most people will be, depending on what tier you're doing, BSR goes, you know, basically infinitely, well, maybe like 250. And then, yeah, sometimes you could just send 200s, or like this will just be a lot better than having extra AP that goes over the cap. So replace this as you get them. It's not super high priority, but having your own way to get 200% without other people having to rage transfer is always nice. So yeah, the only thing that's important are stuff like fall damage, you know, extra HP against recovery, but you want to look at the black magic crystals. There's probably a few others, but they're not super important, just nice to have. This is my evasion setup, and admittedly, I don't really use this one. Most people are DR, and so I just talked to a few people and asked, like, hey, what do you use for your full evasion PvP set? And this is it. So we have 4 ultimate Hooms, which is straight up defensive. We want some extra damage against players or like adventurers, and an attack cast speed is always nice. Then we have double Harpias, which are plus 20 evasion times 2. Then purple for more evasion. 2 Vipers for a little bit of damage. It's mostly evasion, but you want to still be able to do a little bit of damage too. And then red spirit crystal and gluttonies. I chose this one simply because we do crit damage. It would be a little bit better than just having more, you know, flat damage, I guess, depending. Because even if you go more flat damage of AP, you already have so much evasion, you're not going to be like bursting people too hard, so you'd rather get more crit damage on people than, you know, a small floor increase. And then double frozen bitterness for 2 more, and then for 24 more evasion. So this is my BSR set. This is more for PvE, and basically it's kind of like the overcap, or the one we have for overcap, but with a little bit more defensives, and we have 4 BSR ones. That's it. You've seen all the crystals here already. You're probably wondering, what is this Han Wandering Origins? It's PvE, and I'm using it mostly for the monster damage reduction, but it is for Edania Part 2 endgame stuff. If you don't have it, you could replace it for, you know, we use it for the defense, monster damage reduction, so you could use literally anything else. They all give plus 20, so yeah, you could use this one and whatever one you have, and you're good. This is my PvE defense, or I guess you could use it for PvP. It doesn't really matter. It's a meme setup. Everything is defensive. You do no damage. Ideally, the fun meme eventually would be full 6 Han or 6 Han DRs, and basically you're trading all your AP to not die. It's kind of fun, but you don't do any damage. So, double RBF Cobalinus, which is a little bit of damage, but you're mostly doing it for the HP because that's all they have left. Kydex Crystal Giant. You could have 2 if you're like a older player, and they gave this throughout events many years ago, but if you don't have it, then you just replace it with anything else you want to, more damage if you wanted to, or anything else that might be available. 4 Hooms, 2 Rebellious, HP for survivability, double Dark Red Fang armors. and you know, more double frozen bitterness and a purple hate taste here. So yeah, this build, you ever see those people in like RBF or uncapped wars that are just rock builds? This is chances are this is what they're doing. They do no damage, but they don't die either. You just ignore those players, and that's how it works. So yeah, ideally you want Hans, but if you have bonds, they probably work fine. Best in slot would be Jins and Hans, but those are also hard to get. Next we have accuracy. Now this one is a little bit, you know, outdated because with the whole gear changes lately, most people are just going either full offense or full defense. These days, accuracy is specifically to fight evasion players. And aside from that, if you're just fighting your normal geared player, chances are they're going to be in like this one or this one. And then accuracy is to fight evasion. But what we have here, double visionary Elcars for 30 accuracy times 2. We also have a Karme, one of them over here, actually 2 of them. And then these are extra AP against adventurers. Then we have 1 Viper for extra damage, and then another Viper over here, and 2 more Jin Vipers for more accuracy. So this is like medium damage, high accuracy. You're basically fighting evasion, otherwise it's kind of like less relevant. All right, so next we have Edania DPS. It's really the same thing as these based on CC type, but I just have this one set up. So depending on where you're grinding, you can swap them out. It really is just this one, but this is my go-to one. This one would be overcapped. If you are overcapped in an Edania spot, what you're trading out is a little bit of damage for, you know, more survivability. So if you wanted to get rid of the void destructions, those would go first. And then you can add, you know, more HP or frozen bitterness. I think I'd recommend frozen bitterness over that. But we want the attack cast speed. I like that more. But aside from that, these are the same things. These are just more damage. This one's overcapped when trading out a little bit of damage for some like attack cast speed. Next, we have life skills. For all of you life skillers, you have it easy. You only have to look for 2 different things. The breath of breathing verdure. Let me show you how to get it. So basically you combine the life and vital crystals. Life crystal. So this thing, you can buy them on the market now. That's good. What you do is combine this with a vital crystal. And then this one just gives you that. And you go gathering. I have a video talking about how to get the essence of verdure. I'll leave it in the description if you care. And it's more just like you start gathering stuff down in down somewhere around here in Infamere Castle with the crab thingies, and then you just go up and down the path, and that's how you get them. So it's not super hard. It's a little bit time consuming, but you know, it's not contested. You could get it in like a couple of days or like a week and you'll be good. The Jin Dawn crystals, these are best in slot. What they do is give you 15% life XP. Obviously more is better, but if you don't have them, don't worry about it. It's just giving you more life XP. Mastery would be a higher priority, so you want to focus on the breathing verdure crystals first before Jin life XPs, just because mastery makes you more silver, and it's just overall more, you know, like you gather more than XP. So yeah, there you go. You just get these naturally through gathering. I would recommend putting an order on if you don't have it already. But aside from that, these are very easy. There's only 2 things you have to worry about instead of having to worry about all the different other crystals. Last one we have is straight up combat XP. I know they're going to be changing it, and 70 is currently the cap now. 75 is the cap in October, I believe. But yeah, I use this one exclusively when on seasonal characters, leveling it up to like 60 to just get the pass done. But aside from that, XP is a little bit less relevant nowadays. But if you're doing something to push XP, you would use this one. You get these crystals through seasonals, and you get like 2 of them every season or character you do and get the pass. If you don't have it, that's okay. Let's say you're a new player. I believe they're I believe there are ones you can buy off the market. So these are 10% instead of 20. But if you're a new player, you could buy all of these, and there's no limit to how many experience crystals you can use. So, like, let's say you only have 2 of them. This is your first character. You're new to the game. You're doing seasons for the first time. They give you 2 of them. How do you get the rest of them? Just buy those red crystals. They're very cheap and functionally do, you know, about the same, like 10%. The number for Combat XP is additive, not multiplicative. So you see how here it tells you is 375%. Let's say you grind a spot, right? And that's normal XP. And then plus 375 on top of the base, not multiplying it, which, you know, sounds a lot better. So either way, it's just a nice bonus. It's not something really worth, you know, going after unless you have a main goal. If I were to recommend any sets to you guys, I would recommend having a full AP one, especially if you're not overcapped in a spot. That way, this will give you the most AP going into any grind spot. And then if you're in the mid game, chances are you're going to be grinding a spot that has some sort of CC type enemy, and you just swap the crystals out. You don't even need to have 3. I just have it just for the convenience sake of it. But what you would do is you would just replace your 25% CC resist, and at the bottom for whatever grind spot you're doing. If you're a PvPer, chances are most people are running full damage or full defense. And then for the other people, it's like kind of like rock, paper, scissors, depending on who you fight. Most people are full damage. Or full defense. And then the other side of that is people who are evasion classes. If they're running something like this, what you would do is run accuracy. I would say most people, you can get between 2 to 3 accuracy crystals. If you have Jins, that's obviously better. But, you know, those are 45 billion each, and that's kind of expensive. So, you know, if you can only get bonds for now, that's fine. It's a little bit less accuracy, but they're like 1 bill and not 45 bill. So there it is. Aside from that, how do you counter it? More damage. AP will fight other AP. AP counters that, and then, you know, if someone is an evasion player, you counter it with accuracy. And if they're full defense, which has been the meta for quite a while now, you just hope Pearl Abyss changes it, because DR is very strong. And that it is what it is. Like, what do you do about it? Like, maybe one day they'll balance it, but aside from that, that's how you fight things in PvP. It's rock, paper, scissors, and hope you fight the right class. But the most fun thing is just doing it as much damage as you can. I would say that, and that's about it. So, with that said, that's all the crystals I have. I want to say thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have any questions going forward, feel free to drop it in the comments. I'm happy to point you in the right direction. Also, for the next 2 months or so, under 2 months, we have an event going on for the creator code. And if you are thinking about buying any A coins or pearls or any game package upgrades, and you use my code, I get a small commission from that. And it's always appreciated, never required. Even if you're free to play and you still watch my videos, that's all that matters. But if you're thinking about using my code, I always appreciate it. And feel free to let me know in the comments, or you could join the Discord. Let me know that you use my code so I could thank you personally. And yeah, always appreciated, never required. And I will see you tomorrow. Have a fantastic day. Peace.